Okay. Hi there. It's time for your program, Tourism View with Kazeem Balogun. And a weekly thing where I bring people to the studio to discuss tourism. So the topic for today is going to be a general view of tourism. And I have with me somewhere else around the world a very special guest with whom I'll be discussing tourism. The name is Pelu Awofeso. He's a veteran journalist and he knows what he's doing when it comes to tourism. Uh, Now, the procedure is that I'm going to take you on a kind of news around tourism world. We're going to cover hospitality, aviation, and what have you, everything that has to do with tourism. So let me take the news. Immediately I'm through with the news, I'm going to bring my guest on. So the news is going to be just the headlines, just for us to know what is happening around tourism globally. So I'm going to start with this news from Hertz. These are very serious news. You know, Hertz dollar thrifty, car renter killed by COVID-19. It's all about COVID-19. What this story is saying is that Hertz, you know, they're in charge of car rental and what have you. They've gone bankruptcy, and that's a minus for tourism business. Whichever way you want to look at it, it's a minus for tourism business. There is this story about hotel. It says Sarova Hotels names Sanjay Rai Namit as the new vice president, sales and marketing. That's about hotel. Then let's go to this news from Portugal. The headline says Portugal reopens to European visitors as the minister welcomes tourists to the country. That's a good one coming from tourism. Like we always tell you, tourism must continue like entertainment business. So here we are. Portugal has opened up eventually to tourists, though to European tourists, but they just have to open up to business. So there is this headline about America. It says America's national parks are reopening with strategies. Yeah, everywhere is being reopened. Like we just have to continue to do the business, like I said. Then there is this news about new UK as well. It says new arrivals to UK now to spend 2 weeks in mandatory quarantine. That's the procedure. They call that's the new reality. So if you're going to UK, you know that you're going to spend another 2 weeks in a quarantine. Then let's go to Canada. It says Air Canada announces new summer schedule, expands goodwill policy. Then let's go to Israel. It says Israel has a new tourism minister. It says Asaf Zamir appointed as new minister of tourism for Israel. Then there is this story from Pakistan. It's a very terrible story. Our hearts with those people that died in the plane crash. It's all about aviation. It says Pakistan International Airline jet with 107 people on board crashes in Karachi. I learned 2 people survived. So it's a terrible thing. Then there is this headline that says UN and EU irrelevant. That's a statement by former UNWTO, that is United Nations World Tourism Organization Secretary General, is worried. It's a question. Is UN and EU, are they relevant? That's a question. And let's take the last question, which says Lagos Ministry of Tourism inaugurates post-COVID committee to map out recovery plans for Lagos tourism. You know, we are in Lagos and we have to do justice to that. So on that note, I have come to the end of the headlines. Now, let me bring in my guests. Like I told you, his name is Pelu Awofeso. Pelu, welcome to the program.
Hi, Kazeem. Good afternoon. I'm great to join you on this conversation. Thanks for inviting me. I'm honored, and I hope our guests or whoever is listening to us or get a thing or two from our conversation.
You're welcome,
Thank you very
Belu.
much, and I give you thumbs up for initiating this sort of discourse around tourism and travel and aviation and hospitality and our industry in general. I think it's a major one. I haven't
Thank you
seen
so
anybody
much.
do this, so I commend you for the initiative. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Now let's go straight to our discussion. Quickly, because I know you, but for the sake of the people watching,
Okay.
Oliver, can you do a brief introduction of yourself?
Okay, but my name is already clearly shown. My name is Pelu Awofeso. I've been a travel writer, travel journalist, arts reporter for a number of years. My my core my core interest is in promoting Nigeria as a destination of choice for Nigerians and for the global community. I've done this by way of writing articles, traveling around the country. At the last count, I've been to 32 states in Nigeria. I've written about almost all the states in the country based on my own personal journeys, my own personal assessment, my own personal visits to all these places. I have reported festivals from all regions of Nigeria. I have seen tourist attractions from all parts of Nigeria. I have met Nigerians of all walks of life. I have covered all sorts of events relating to tourism, and I've essentially written so many stories about them because what defines me is Destination Nigeria. Anytime you are talking
Mm.
about Nigeria as a travel destination, you are talking about the unique travel assets, tourist assets
Okay,
that Nigeria has got.
Belu,
Yes.
Belu, wait a bit. It seems I've lost your audio. I've lost your video. Um,
Okay.
Maybe there's something that I need to get right there. But
But,
I'm
but,
just
but I can see myself and
can
I can
you?
hear you.
Okay,
I believe, I don't
okay,
know, but just be double
okay,
sure.
okay. Well, probably let's
Maybe
continue.
okay, if our
Let's
audience
continue
can
with
send us
that.
a message to let us know if they are seeing me. Okay, so I mean, I've just basically done some intro, and so in short, the short and simple thing
Yeah.
is, I'm all about promoting Nigeria as a destination, and there's no better time than now to do just that, when the world is struck by
Hmm.
coronavirus and COVID-19.
Great. Now, let's look at tourism generally. From what you can observe in the era of COVID-19, where do you think what is the future of tourism?
That's a tough question, but I believe the reality is staring us in the face.
Hmm.
Tourism has taken a very big hit from the virus. Okay, um, all the planes belonging to all the airlines are grounded. No planes are flying right now, but we are getting close to the rest of the world. Easing on the lockdown for tourism is a bit negative, but it's largely negative because
Okay.
the industry was showing a lot of promise, at the
Hmm.
beginning of the decade, at the beginning of the year, to the point
Hmm.
where United Nations World Tourism Organization was projecting some fantastic figures, fantastic GDP
Hmm.
contribution for tourism, fantastic job creation for tourism,
Hmm.
positive international visits across the world from everywhere in the world. People were traveling, in millions. I have a lot of statistics
Hmm.
before me. I may be able to share a few of them so that the people watching and listening can have an idea of the scope of tourism,
Hmm.
the sort of loss the industry has suffered, and how it's going to take a very long time to get back to what it used to be pre COVID
Hmm.
19. So the
Okay.
consequences are really dire, and the world of tourism has been shaken to its core.
There was a time we were under a lockdown. What were you doing? What activities did you involve yourself in?
Okay, well, so I had time to do a lot of reading. In
Okay.
our Lagos, in the sort of life that we live in Lagos, the hustle life. You leave your house in the morning, 8 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and you don't get back until late night. So the lockdown gave me more than enough time to consult books that I didn't have the time to read. Travel focused books, novels, basically. Getaway, feel good books. I also got the time to work on a very serious project, a project that is meant to promote Nigeria as a destination. It's me
Great.
basically working with about 40 other travel professionals, stakeholders, and influencers to create a travel list for Nigeria. Because I found out that in the past couple of years, when I speak with Nigerians about Nigeria as a destination, have you been here? Have you been there? The constant reply that I get is that, what is there to see in Nigeria? Where can I go in Nigeria? And I'm always shocked. And in my intro, I discussed about how I've traveled extensively in the country and how I've seen so many things. And I will expect that Nigerians, on the average, will actually have an idea of some of these things, even if not all. But they don't know next to nothing about all of the beautiful things that the country has got. But we know a lot about Ghana, we know a lot about the US, about France, about the Netherlands. We know a lot about Dubai right now, more than even the people in Dubai themselves. And those places are drawing Nigerians in their several hundreds of thousands. So what I've done and what I'm going to release very soon, it's a defining list that will now give Nigerians an idea of, okay, this is, oh, really? We have this, we have that. Oh, really? So it's a way to encourage Nigerians to look more inwards. And if you have seen the trend across the world, many countries are going to be focusing on, well, first and foremost, encouraging their own people to travel around the country first. Take some fresh air. If you can cross over to a neighboring country, it's fine. But a country like South Africa, for example, has said that they are not looking out for international tourists as we speak. They're going to focus their attention on South Africans. They want to encourage South Africans to travel around the country because they know that nobody's going to get up from their houses or from their countries and fly to South Africa. So they are focusing attention on, building domestic tourism. I think that is what every country in Africa should do. Okay, let's forget about anybody coming into our country for the time being, and let's talk to our own people and say, okay, guys, COVID-19 is almost gone. Economic activity is getting back to near normal. Now is the time, because okay, let me use a phrase that leaders in the West have used. Summer is approaching, and they are saying that after people have been stuck in their various homes for 8 weeks or thereabouts, it's time for them to get some fresh air. So they're encouraging them to get out and go there to the natural environment and enjoy. Okay, so they're not telling them to travel abroad. If people like, they can go there. But the idea is that explore your own country, go somewhere and just chill out. Nigeria needs to do the same thing, just as South Africa is doing.
Okay. Now, let me now narrow it down to this question. I can, from the headline that I read out, some destinations are already opening up. I feel it's the time is not right. But do you share the same thought with me, going by what we are experiencing currently, especially for tourism?
Well, there's a major crisis in the US right now. I have to go back. I really don't like to use the US as an example, but because it fits perfectly into the conversation we are having now, and I think it also explains how the world is divided about whether to open up the economy or not. In the US, there is a divide. A part of the country is saying, please open up the economy. We can't keep on staying indoors because of a virus. Let's go out, return to normal, the way we used to do things, and then let's treat the disease as we go along. Some are saying it's unsafe, that you really can't risk a second wave of the virus. So you will always find an argument in favor of both. I feel it's a bit early. Number one, for example, look at the bad news. So that, the sad incident that happened yesterday, the air crash, which you read out in your headlines. I think it's a result of the planes not 100% suitable for flying yet. If aircrafts have been grounded for 8 weeks in the list, there is going to be a need for several test runs for you to begin to say you want to fly transatlantic flights, international flights. I think the aviation industry will need some time to get the airlines working again properly before people should risk their lives to get on a plane and fly. All right. Yeah. So in terms of social distancing, I'm not sure how much of social distancing we will be able to achieve on a beach, for example. I don't think it would be fair to be a decent site for people to go to beaches and be wearing face masks. I think people will just be visiting leisure destinations with fear, with the realization that we still have COVID-19, around us.
Okay.
So you are going to relax in the beach and whatever, and then you're seeing everybody wearing a mask. I don't think it's a fun thing to see. So I would say we'll slow down in the way the economy opens. I'm all for tourism to return. I'm all for travels to return, but we have to do it with a lot of caution.
I've been into several webinars, Zoom, these, Google, these, that. Most people will always come up with these ideas that, okay, the kind of tourism that we are looking at, like what they call the new reality is that it's going to be regional tourism or domestic tourism. Do you think that is what we're going to experience in few months or years to come?
So the thing is, what we're experiencing right now takes me back, and I've had this conversation with a few travel and stakeholders in the tourism industry in Nigeria. They take us back to a time in 2017 when we had a recession. And it became almost impossible for Nigerians to travel, to carry all their dollars and spend on flights abroad. So what did they do? They kept that money within the country and they began to explore local destinations, essentially helping to boost awareness in domestic tourism. So COVID-19 is giving us another opportunity, like a recession, to look inwards and see all the possibilities that Nigeria has to offer. Okay, so right now we are not in a recession, but there's going to be a recession, in the near future because the economy has been shut down. There's no money anywhere. So whatever little money people have, they need to make the most of it. So essentially, they are going to have to look again at, taking the holidays and adventures and family getaways in the country. There are so many. There are 101 places actually people can go to that it will blow their minds. Okay, there are so many states in this country that don't actually register on the tourism radar, on the travel radar, and one of them is Delta State. Okay, if people were to go to Delta State, for example, and see what that state has got to offer, you will just wonder why we are not doing a lot to promote all these places. Okay, so I mean, aside from the Kano, the Calabar, Cross River, where else? Kano, Calabar, Cross destination in Nigeria. All right, so we talk about so many places. We don't talk about Akwa Ibom, beautiful place. I've mentioned Delta State already. Gombe is becoming a revelation. From my conversation with the people that I spoke with earlier, who contributed to the list that I'm building. This state is beautiful. This state is awesome. It's got some very fantastic scenic destinations. All right. And if people have watched the film Up North was a Nollywood film that was released, like, say, 2 years ago. You need to go watch that film. Maybe you can go and see it on Netflix. It will give you a whole new perspective of northern Nigeria. Northern Nigeria is more beautiful than many people realize. When we talk about northern Nigeria, we'll be talking about our Almajiri. We'll be talking about
that's what we get to hear when they talk about the up north. Yeah,
about herdsmen killing people. That is a one-sided conversation we are having. It now behoves on government, on travel stakeholders, influencers to now begin to showcase the other sides of these places. Okay, we really won't go far if all the media talks about is the negative aspects of these places, when in actual fact there is a lot to see and enjoy in those places. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of work we need to do, actually. But we have to start from somewhere. Gombe itself is not even promoting itself as a destination. All right. Many of these states in the north are not promoting them. For example, have you been to Sokoto? I've been to Sokoto myself 2 times. It's another mind-blowing place. But how many people have been to Sokoto? You'll be afraid because there's a scare about Boko Haram, about religious fundamentalism and whatever. So we are the ones also slowing the growth of tourism by the things we do or do not do. And we need to begin to look at that in a different way and showcase, the really attractive sides of these places.
Okay. Now, you've talked about visiting Nigeria. Now, let's look at Africa. We're very close to Benin Republic, mostly these French-speaking countries.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think the movement is going to shift there as well, then down to majorly African countries? Because from what we've been hearing now, if you want to go to UK as we speak, I read it in the headlines, you have to stay somewhere for 14 days.
Nobody wants to do that.
So what are we practicing? What do we call that? So are we going to look at Africa as the best place to do our holiday? What's your thought on that?
Oh, well, so the thing is this. If governments are ready for international travels, fine and good. But if, for whatever reason, they are not ready, that is when the idea of a 14-day quarantine will come to place. Okay? So like I said, the best thing for everybody to do right now is to just travel within their own countries. So you don't risk the inconveniences of having to be quarantined in a foreign country. Much as we need to encourage Pan-African travel. If we can't do that immediately, it's fine. We will always get there. But right now, if you're Togolese, travel in Togo. If you're Ghanaian, travel in Ghana. If you're Nigerian, travel in Nigeria. If you're Cameroonian, travel in Cameroon. Whatever country you are from, travel there, for example. We can't really do these things if we are not ready for it. Okay, so I want people to travel, but right now we may not be able to easily. So let's just make do with what we have in our own country and just enjoy that for the time being.
Now, on the last notes, where are you planning to go immediately after we start receiving flights from different parts of the world? Where's your own destination?
I thought, where do I want to go in the country? Since I've been talking about traveling within the country.
Yeah, okay. Within the country and elsewhere. Let's look at both sides.
So anyway, my sights are set right now on a national park in Nigeria, and that's the Okomu National Park in Edo State. Okomu is one of Nigeria's 7 national parks, and it features in the list that I'm building. As a matter of fact, it is not on the top 10 list, but it has struck me as a place that I need to visit. And I like the interest that many people are showing in that place because of the picture that I shared of the place. So I'm talking to 1 or 2 people right now. Once the coast is clear and we can travel, we'll need to take a trip to Okomu National Park. I've been to one before, Old Oyo National Park in Shepeteri in Oyo State, in the Okeogu area. And I was blown away. Fantastic nature park, natural park that people don't go to. Okay, and you just wonder, why do we have to go to East Africa for safari? We have our own safari destinations in Nigeria, 7 different ones. Oyo State, Okomu National Park in Edo State, Kainji Lake National Park in Niger State, Gashaka Gumti National Park in Taraba and Adamawa, Bauchi, Yankari National Park in Bauchi, Somo Wildlife Park also in Bauchi, Afi Forest Reserve in Calabar. I could go on and on. So we have these 7 strategic national parks that we can go and have a safari. You don't need to go, for God's sake, to Kenya, to Uganda, to Rwanda. All of those things are in different parts of Nigeria in those parks. So for me, it's going to be Okomu National Park. For my international travel,
Okay.
I really don't want to think about that right now. It's not in my immediate plans.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't want to go that far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's been wonderful talking to you, Pelu. Thank
Thank
you
you
for the
very much.
time, and I hope that when next I invite you for another interesting edition, I hope you will oblige me.
I will always be happy and glad to be part of the conversation to move our industry forward, to promote Nigeria
Okay.
as a destination by Nigerians themselves. So I look forward to the
Thank you
next
so much.
invitation. Thank you very much. And I
Okay.
congratulate you again for this conversation, for this idea. I look forward to who the next guest will be, subsequent guests I will follow, and just see what other people, my colleagues, also have to say.
Okay. Thank you so much. So it's on that note that I want to drop the curtain on today's edition of Tourism View with Kazeem Balogun. Join me again next week as I bring another interesting guest to your viewing pleasure. I hope that you remain safe and keep safe. And let's agree that tourism must not die. And Pelu has talked so much about that. So I want to say bye bye for now, and I hope to see you next time I come live to you. I am Kazeem Balogun, and bye bye for now.
Bye bye, everyone.